Hello, we have been getting a lot of questions about our Snap-on cemetery and whether it is available for sale or how to make one yourself. And I would love to talk about that today and tell you all of the details because it's currently not for sale. But if you wanted to make one yourself, I think that's a great idea. So to start off, I used AstroTurf as the base, but you could really use a lot of different surfaces as long as it's thick enough to hold all of these objects. I was just thinking that like green placemats might be really good because then you'd have all these rectangles that you could rearrange even within your cemetery, which might be nice. And then once you have that surface, you just start gluing on all these snaps. I'm doing it in kind of this like 2 inch by 2 inch grid. I started measuring at the beginning and then like 20 snaps in, I just started eyeballing it and it works fine. And for me, the size of the snap is very important. I use these 19mm snaps, which I have organized here. And I learned the hard way that not even every 19mm snap is going to be interchangeable if it's different manufacturers. So I have listed the links of the exact snaps that I'm buying, just in case we ever need to like cross-pollinate. And for the base, you are going to be using the socket side of the snap. So here you can see this is the socket, which makes that the socket side of the snap. This is the back side that you're going to be gluing down. What you want to do is only put glue on this little part right here. You don't want to put glue on any of this mechanism because then it won't snap. And in the beginning, I was using hot glue and really like putting faith in the Lord. Didn't work out. So then I realized I have to switch to super glue. And then for the vegetation, I bought these like pre-made model trees. Just search for like miniature trees, model trees online, and you get a bunch of different options. What I did learn was that they really flake, like these trees really shed a lot of this green. So I learned online, people said that you should coat them with Mod Podge. So I just got a brush and started like painting the trees. And that gave it like a little bit of a sealer, and so it really does help with the shedding. And you're going to attach those trees to the ball side of the snap, so there's the ball, and then the tree is going to fit inside of there. And then I had these felt circles from our Pride Eve event, which was a good way to hide the snap. And then I would put the tree with that felt circle on top of the snap, and there you have it. Okay, moving on to what we're really here for, which is the tombstones. And there is a combination of things going on. So I commissioned Sister Cecilia, aka Yulia, to make several different types of snap-on tombstones. And she used two different techniques. The first being Sculpey, to sculpt these beautiful tombstones, which you can see the snap at the bottom. And so these are like an air-dried clay. And then the other kind was foam, which I think is so smart because you really get this like stone texture from the foam. They're like squishy, very lightweight. And so she made all these different styles of tombstones, which really give the cemetery all of its personality. And then I added to that with some miniature tombstones, which I found online. And they arrived looking like this, very plain. I glued the snap onto them. But then I found to give them a little bit of personality, I brushed them with a little bit of acrylic paint and glued some moss onto the bottom to cover up those little parts of the snap. So that let us expand the cemetery a little bit quicker as we're working on other projects at the same time. And like this plastic mausoleum came with those other tombstones. So it was just plain. I did a little bit of like quick acrylic paint on it and glued on some moss. And I think it already has so much personality. I think that's all the cemetery secrets. Oh, the removal, the like snapping and unsnapping, some people have mentioned like that they think you're like pulling up from the tombstone, which you're never going to do. I understand the impulse, of course, but you're always going to pry something in between the two sides of the snap so that no tension is ever on the decoration. You're just putting something in between the snaps. And the more decorations that you can find in your everyday life that you can repurpose and glue to a snap, I think the better. Like these little pom-poms were just in my sewing collection. And these were little brushes from a ceramics polishing machine, which my friend gave me, and they add the like perfect landscape texture. And thank you so much for all the amazing reaction to the Snap-on Cemetery. I really do appreciate it. I was like, I have to do this. I can't mentally or physically not, but I don't know if this makes sense to anyone else. So it's been very fun to get to share it with all of you. And we are going to keep updating it. Thank you for all the suggestions. We are going to get some mini benches. We're going to make some pathways. Of course, we're going to get a groundhog and some other wildlife. And that's the thing. It can just like keep growing and changing and expanding. And this one definitely will.